Yeah, we had a full boat set up down there and everything.
So, right, Richard, you've talked about not putting all your eggs in one basket, and you've talked about dipping into the digital world.
Yeah.
Have you invested or dipped into the physical assets world, i.e. precious metals? That is, I'm very conscious we haven't talked about this yet tonight, and it needs to be addressed because I want to talk about it.
So there's two ways you can do that. Obviously, you can do it through like Forex trading, and you can invest in the actual market itself, which can be handy for short-term gains, especially if you understand the graphs and stuff like that. But you can't go wrong with platinum, silver, or gold in the long run.
Yes.
End of story. And this is where I want to go. But I've only just tapped into the research, and when you see the adverts for a block of gold or the grams of gold, and you look at today's marketplace, it's way out. And you've got to find yourself a solid sort of source that's actually doing it for the rate of the day, and then it's not just on an advert on the internet.
I can talk about that because I've found a couple.
Yeah, well, definitely send me the links after the show, please.
I mean, well, this for me, this all started in roughly 2018 when I first had the notion of a financial reset, and all my research was starting to culminate in the fact that it was going to win. And I had some whispers, and it's when I first started to invest in crypto and in physical silver and gold. Now, when I first invested in the first piece of physical gold that I bought, I was very skeptical about it, and I wanted it all to be quite clandestine. And I actually went to a physical coin dealer that was around here in a shop, and I phoned him up and I was like, "Have you got any?" And this was when there was starting to be talks about another financial crash, exactly 10 years after 2008, obviously. And he's like, "Yeah, I've just got 20 sovereigns in, but someone's coming in to buy them." And at the time, I think they were just over £300 each. And bear in mind, it's exactly the same size as the 1p, maybe even slightly smaller. And I was like, right, I'll take the lot. And he's like, someone's coming in to buy them. He's going to offer 320. So it was already like that. This was, it was already difficult to buy them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want this to be recorded, and I want to pay for them with cash. So anyway, I got there and I ended up buying 9 of them. I've still got them. Now, those sovereigns that I bought in the first 9 that I bought in 2018 for £304 or £309 each, something like that. I believe now they're worth about £350 to £360 each at today's price. And we're talking not a vintage sovereign, a fresh one, Richard, so it hasn't got any vintage value. It's basically the piece of metal with the cost of the minting. So those first 9 I bought, that was all really a good investment. Now, obviously gold is the main one that everyone talks about, right?
Yeah.
But silver is also very important as well.
Well, that's what they need for their Schwab tech.
Yeah, because a lot of the Schwab tech coming up and a lot of the green tech that's going to go with the green agenda is based actually on silver. And as far as I know, silver is super duper underpriced. I think, it's worth a fraction of gold, and it mirrors gold a bit like Bitcoin and Litecoin like this. So I started investing in silver as well. But what I very quickly found out was, I think that, in my opinion, it's okay to buy them from the top vendors on the internet. I buy it from goldbank.co.uk. There's VAT on one and there's VAT not on the other. I can't remember whether it's gold or silver, but it comes all safe, insured. You can buy it in either coins, like the silver coins start at like £20 or £30. You can buy it up to kilograms
in a bar.
But what we were saying earlier on, if it is a financial crash and you've got a kilogram of silver or some kilograms of silver, or say like a big inglet of gold, what are you going to do? You're going to take a hot knife to it and start chopping it up. No. So what I did is I invested in a plethora of different products, from the smallest denomination to denominations worth £20, £30, right up. I did buy 1 kilogram of silver. I think when I bought it, it was £750 when I bought it. Now it's worth about £900. So for me, it was about splitting. I started to split my portfolio across crypto and the physical ones. So I wanted to go digital and physical. And now when I say I bought them, I don't mean I bought the stocks. I mean I physically own them. So for me, that was very important, because when this all comes crashing down, the first thing you do, can anyone get any cash? Yeah, you can get some cash. Oh shit, the value of cash is going through the floor. This bag of cash, that's only worth £5. What are you going to put with war? That costs 3 bags of cash.
You think how much a bottle of Prime's going to be worth then?
Bottle of Prime, give me metric tons of cash, you filthy peasant. I'll tell you what, so when cash is gone and that's all fucked, the next thing that people will start to trade in will be precious metals. I don't care what anyone says, this is a fact. Eddie the says VAT on silver, no VAT on gold. But the answer is that it's not difficult to buy them. You can buy this online from very reputable sources, and you can start to actually, in my opinion, and this is I don't really give advice. I just tell people what I've done. They can follow me if they want. I think that's a good way to protect your assets, because when it all comes crashing down, in my opinion, the value of those precious metals will actually go up. Just like in certain places where the currency crashes. I think there was a couple of places in Africa where they went up to like $10 trillion for this, That's when their Bitcoin there was worth 40% more than the rest of the world, because they needed to use Bitcoin because their money was just stupid. So we need to be ready, like you say, we need to preempt things, Richard, because when the fiat monetary system crashes, there will be stages. It won't be all one thing all at once.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, especially with like half the people that claim that they're awake and they're awake. They're like, oh yeah, I know what's going on. I know what this is. I know what that is. Guarantee when you get there, half of them are prepared for it. And they went, if you've got all this knowledge, why aren't you using it to get ahead?
Yeah, we have to get ahead. I mean, listen, I was watching videos in 2015-16 of global elite bankers or people that work for the high level bank, and they were saying that people are already sewing diamonds and precious metals under their skin. Yeah. I mean, these high level people, I think you might have seen some of the, I think it was Project Camelot.
Well, they're schwabbing it into themselves.
So, like, imagine if you were on the other side of the world and the global financial system goes down. So not only if you were one of them, imagine if you were one of them and you were in the wrong part of the world and it goes down. So not only any of the cash you've got on you is now worthless, someone has probably just grabbed all the jewellery off you and robbed you.
Yeah.
Your smartphone now doesn't work. You can't get to your crypto shekel account. So how are you going to get home? Well, if you've got $25,000 worth of diamonds just sewed just underneath your skin, and with a scalpel you can get them out, that's enough to get you home.
Cutting people open all sorts.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw that, I was like, right, those people know. Watch what the enemy does. Imitate them, think like them, and anticipate them. Whoosh.
And I know a lot of people will be saying as well, I think I've seen a few, but a lot of people haven't got the income to start this, and do this, to do that. I started with £200 on crypto, and I started with £500 for this online business that I'm doing at the moment. But if not, you've got to remember knowledge is wealth as well. If you learn a lot about like alternative medicines or things like that, or foraging and stuff, that knowledge is going to be wealth, because all these people with these master's degrees that are in their apartments in London, they're going to be coming to you because they're going to need to learn to adapt.
You think how profitable knowledge on growing your own food is going to be, or filtering your own water?
But listen, this doesn't have to be a financial thing. It can be a skills thing. If you're a skilled tradesman and you've already built up a network of people that are relying on you to come and help them when something goes wrong in their house, their property, etc., then you've got your own microeconomy built for yourself. I said since day one, early in 2020, I said the first thing everyone needs to do when people were looking to me for some reason, for guidance, Lance, what do you reckon all this stuff with this thing is? I said, first things first, everyone needs to make a black market, because the effect of this, whatever the people's pandemic or the virus is, the economic backfall will be much, much worse, because that's what this is all about. And that's the first thing I ever said when anyone asked me in early 2020 back in March. I said, start a black market right now. Start it.
Yeah,
thankful.
There's so many things as well. Obviously, networking. We need to network as much as possible as well. We need to understand what other people's skills are, what other people's plans are. Okay, are you doing that over there? Well, if I do this over here, we'll swap this for this, and we can build structures if you can do this. And so we do need to network as much as possible beforehand as well, because all this kind of stuff and knowing where to go if these things happen or who to go to is going to keep you one step ahead of the game as well. So if you know the person that's good at matching notice, and you know the person that's, I'm collecting this, or that person's got organic seeds because he's already told me he's collecting them, so we need some seeds for our crop, we're going to go there. So we need to do all of this, really.
Mate, I think this is all round good advice. sort of conglomerating everything that a lot of our guests have said over the last 2 or 3 years. And now we could be potentially on the cusp of the event, it seems like, in this year, this bankers' skull and bones year.
Not that we're trying to scare anyone. We're just
whatever happens this year, whether it's a proper superinflation event, whether they literally switch off the Rothschild system, whatever happens this year, there is going to be something that if you haven't done your due diligence, you haven't at least made some preparations, some countermeasures, you haven't at least had the thought about how to protect what you've already got. Imagine if you've got your house that you might be renting. If you're lucky enough, you might be on the property ladder, you've got a mortgage, you're really lucky, you might have paid it off. Do you know what? Those people that have paid off their mortgage, they've got a fucking nest egg in the bank, those are the ones that are most at risk. Yeah, that's the crazy thing right here. Yeah. No one is safe from what is coming. Those who are safest now are actually at most risk when this happens.
My mate, he's got a house in Spain. Right, he doesn't live there, but he's got a house in Spain that she rents out and goes on holiday there. He said that a few years, I can't remember exactly when this was. He said that the government, it didn't matter if you owned the property, rented the property, paid off the mortgage, whatever. The Spanish government just fucking charged through and started building a road through your fucking back garden.
Oh yeah, they'll do that in those countries.
Yeah. But you think they could easily do that here, just come and take your fucking house.
It used to happen here. Like back in the day, my granddad in Hull was quite an influential businessman, and he had a pub on Poole Quay, and just behind the pub, at one point, he had a row of terrace houses, like sort of 8 terrace houses, right? And Poole Council just walked up and said, you know what? We're taking this. We're taking these. We'll offer you. Do you know what they offered him?
Fuck all.
£54 a house.
Really?
So this would have been back in the 50s. No, 60s.
Your house is still worth more than £54.
Do you know how much those houses are worth now?
About 300-400.
Try 7 or 8. 7 or 8. And I'm talking 2 or 3 bedroom terrace houses. And it was always called a quiet acquisition. I don't know, something like that. Just a bylaw.
Yeah, so the government can just charge in and take your shit.
I'm not sure how much they can do that now, because you do see developments now.
Oh, what are people going to do? They haven't got any guns. How are you going to defend your shit?
We've got a shopping centre up here. Where is it? Knighton Way. And there's one house right in the middle of it. It's clear that they've got a whole shopping centre and all of the car park around it, because one guy stood his ground. He's like, I'm not selling up. And I'm trying to think the name of it. It's up past Wallisdown, that shop where TK Maxx is. Okay, one guy's house there, which has clearly been there since the 50s or 60s, and they've built a whole industrial shopping centre right around it because he didn't sell up. So obviously they don't have those powers anymore in this country, at least. But who knows when when our version of the Green New Deal, or however they wrap it up in what is proposed, because obviously we're talking about proposals here.
Yeah, don't forget as well, like they what Rich was saying about, you're going to beg for it. They need to plunge everyone into fucking poverty for you to beg for it.
Yeah,
so look at the cost of living crisis, the fuel prices, all of it is all designed to fuck you over. And it's not going to be overnight. It's going to be, filtered down, trickled down, and then one day you're just going to go, fuck, I can't afford to live where I am. I can't afford to drive my car.
Let's go back to harsh reality. If that is true, and the price of fuel, energy, food, basic amenities is going up, and let's face it, there's nothing we can do about it, is there?
Apart from grow your own food.
Right. So what Rich is saying is, if there's nothing you can do about those increasing costs, then we have to adapt.
Yeah.
We're moving into a 4th industrial revolution, quasi-digital world.
And then you think, just before you go any further, and they're doing all this shit. I've heard about chickens, about owning your own chickens. Like they're coming after people who are having their own
bird flu. We'll give those chickens a pro-COVID reaction test, comrade, and if they fail, they will be killed.
Yeah, that's it. They'll find a way to stop you doing it. They'll find a way later down the line to stop you growing your own food because it's not beneficial for the fucking climate or some bullshit.
But all of those rules, Codex Aluminitaris, Agenda 2030, 21, they're all in place. They all are semi-consensual. We have to agree to it at some level. There's never going to be, unless there's a whole army of fucking bots ready to come around checking everyone's garden.
You think, look what happened in the Soviet Union. You had peasants fucking grassing up other peasants.
Yeah, but in the Soviet Union, there was a thriving black market, comrade.
Yeah, well, there you go.
In the Soviet Union, if you wanted to wear blue jeans in your underground party, someone would supply you blue denim jeans. The ultimate sign of consumerism and decadence. No, did anyone know about this? Like on the other side of the Iron Curtain, blue Levi jeans were total contraband in the Soviet Union. That was the sign of
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know about this, Richard, right?
Yeah.
Like there was a whole black market importing these washed blue, iconic. Wasn't an iconic pair of Levi's? 501s.
Yeah, right.
501s. They cost like what is it? Like 50 billion rubles or something. That was high grade contraband. So like,
really?
Absolutely.
A pair of fucking jeans.
Yeah, because that was seen as the pinnacle icon of they call it Western decadence. Right. If you had enough decadence to walk around with your blue Levi jeans, wow. But in the Soviet Union, you could only have like brown trousers, comrade.
Just brown everything.
Just great. So, mate, I think this has been really interesting because you are saying stuff that on the face of it is quite controversial.
Yeah, of course.
But we are about solutions here and viable solutions. Well, and I think as long as we can straddle these two worlds of the physical assets and the value of the physical assets while harnessing the digital beast, and we can have that synergy, I think this is quite interesting.
Yeah, well, the thing is, where do you want to be in 10 years? I want to be off-grid on a bit of land. When I say off-grid as well, I mean, I might be on like a five-bed detached house that I've just detached from the water mains and the gas and electric mains. But I want to be off-grid in 10 years' time. And how am I going to get there? Well, I'm not going to get there by saving and working 9 till 5. It's not going to happen.
Nope.
So you need to make money out of the digital world to be able to give yourself the freedom that you want to give yourself. And you want to be there, you want to be ready before this all kicks in, and then you're free. You've got your land, you've got your house that's self-sustaining itself, and you don't even need to be a part of the digital world when the harshness of it comes, because you've made enough money out of it in the meantime on the lead up to it.
At the end of the day, mate, on this show we talk about the denying force and the greatest apocalypse ever, and this this Luciferian clan peasant show. At the end of the day, we have to ride this wave.
Yeah.
What's the opposite? The opposite is to fucking hide away from it and lock yourself in a room or climb a tree. You know, if we want to exist in this world and we want to carry on ascending and we want to carry on rising above, then I'm actually totally on board with what you're saying. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm not saying obviously there's an opposition for everything, but I've got a bit of money in crypto. I've got a digital business. I've got a skill which I can do as a physical skill. I'm going to try and buy my bit of land and start building my house. So I've got a bit everywhere, and all the way down to organic seeds. So if things really do hit the fucking fan, I've got a whole box of organic seeds that I can even start trading. So it's not that I want to be a part of it, but just in case, I've got bits going on.
Well, hey, it's important for any of us not to be left behind. I mean, let's take a step back. Imagine if we took it back to the 90s and we were all 10 or 20 years older and we made a conscious decision not to learn how to use a computer or learn how to access the internet. Imagine if you wanted to become, if you wanted to affect people and make a change today and you weren't computer literate.
I'm not computer literate.
There's going to be
luckily you've got me in this amazing studio who puts
I can send an email.
There's going to be a
point. But you know what I'm saying.
No,
I think it's the same threshold, mate.
You've got to think what people always go on about, but you've got to think what wasn't possible before the digital age, and actually some of it is useful. It's just where you draw the line, obviously. And
yeah, it's about not throwing anything away. If there's a change, you can either totally exclude it or you can embrace it and harness it for yourself, I think.
Do you know, I think what's going to happen initially is we're going to try this, or they're going to try this, and we're going to all take a step in that direction. And I think maybe not in our lifetime, but maybe in our children's lifetime, it's going to go backwards, and it's going to go backwards before now. And everyone's going to realise what technology is doing, and they're all going to take a step back and not be a part of it anymore.
They'll either do that or just be absorbed into the metaverse.
I'm perfectly happy with the future in 10 years where there's been a split, where there are pockets of the Schwabian smart cities where people are all on CBDC, credit scores, they're all in the metaverse, and us guys on the outside, we're trading in decentralized crypto, we're trading in gold, we're trading gold-backed tokens, we're trading skills. That sounds great. I love a little bit of Mad Max, mate.
And that's why you need the land, because it gives you value. And if you've got value, then you can trade. and that's the quickest way to make it. Unfortunately, at the moment, is in the digital world, and that's how I'm having to do it. And people will, oh, this, that. I wouldn't have made 15 grand in December over a stove as a chef. No way.
Nope.
Absolutely not.
No, we have to sustain ourselves. How can we expect to survive and to thrive through what's coming unless we have a revenue stream which is viable enough to allow us to do that? This is the basic first principle, guys.
And this is something about people slating about people trying to make money off the movement, selling merch, selling t-shirts. And that's what I don't understand. It's like, if you're
what do you think pays for all this? Look at this beautiful show, man.
That pays for the service and your time.
What do you think fucking Bar Treat was paid for?
Yeah. How do we even start to do that? It's like, does anyone... I worked out the other day just on software licenses. We're like over £100 a month now. Now that I'm working with, graphics, video, everything costs money and everything is going up. And we're trying to obviously put everything out, obviously, for free, which is the best we can possibly do. So yeah, everyone can suck my dick.
Yeah, and of course these streams of income, some of these you can do in the evening in front of your television. Like some of them that are that simple to make money on, but you can't do that. And that will give you your additional income. People are like struggling for heat, they're struggling to pay these kind of bills. So if you look up at some of these streams of income and you find one that suits you around your timetable, you're suddenly making an extra £400 or £500 for an hour's work a night, a month. So,
and there's actually no shortage of guidance of how to do this. I mean, there's loads of people that will sell you some courses, but I'll tell you what, every one of those people will give you some free advice first. If I wanted to get an extra revenue stream, do you know what the first thing I'd do?
Go on.
I'd go to every single one of those people that was selling a course about how to get an extra revenue stream, and I would absorb all their free information. Yeah, that's the first thing I'd do. And I'll tell you what, there's loads of it.
And then find the one that suits you and then invest in that one. And then if that one works for you and suits you, and once you've mastered it 2-3 weeks later, you can even squeeze in another one. You're talking 2 hours of the evening, and people are like, oh, I haven't got time to do this. If you've got time to drink a glass of wine, or you've got time to watch television, or you've got time to watch Netflix, you have got time to do this. You can find an hour to do it, and some of the markups and the money you make is ridiculous.
Well, surely if it's for the benefit of your future, you just fucking go to bed a little bit later and just do the next day a bit tired and just power through the fucking day.
The other option is you lie around consuming things that cost money. I just never got time. I've just never got time to get an extra revenue stream.
And some people I've been giving some free advice for this have been saying, oh, where can we find £200 from? Where can we do this? I can't do that. And then the next weekend I see them posting pictures of them out in a club with cocktails in their hand, and it's like,
I can't remember the last time I had to go out and like to a nightclub and spend the entrance fee and pay for all my drinks and stuff. It would run into hundreds of pounds. Like that's a big expense. If you could afford to do that once a month, you can already afford to invest in your future, in your new revenue stream.